Well, thank you for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. On the program today, we intend to take a look at the expectations from Donald Trump presidency. In a matter of hours, Mr. Donald J. Trump will assume office as the 47th president of the United States of America. And for many people who listened to his pre-inauguration message last night via stroke this morning, the man is talking tough again, and a lot of people are saying, what exactly is Donald, what does he have up his sleeves? And he has said by the end of today, Monday, many executive bills, orders will be signed. And of course, should that elicit some fears from a lot of people? We have two guests joining us on the program this morning. One is here with us in the studio, and of course the other guest will be joining us via Zoom from Texas. And thank you, Tunde Akinloye, for joining us on the program this morning. Tunde is a former Nigerian journalist, and of course it will interest you to know that he's worked here at Lagos Television before, but of course it stays in the U.S. at the moment. Mr. Akinloye, thank you for joining us on the program.
Well, thank you. Good morning to everyone there.
All right. And we also have here in the studio a practicing U.S. attorney. He stays in the U.S. but currently in Nigeria on vacation. Join us as we welcome Ayinde Nasir Lawal. Thank you for being here on the program today.
Thank you. Good morning.
Right. Let's start with Tunde. Let's quickly ask you, the man, Donald Trump, how can you explain this man?
Well, describing Trump will be a $10 billion job for anyone who attempts to. But I think if we're talking about his second term in office, one thing that many Americans, including those that did not vote for him, mine included, is the fact that he's consistent in what he wants to do. He is pro-America, 100% American-centric policies, and that has endeared him to a lot of people. So we should expect Trump to be pro-America in everything he does, starting from day one.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Ayinde, during his campaign, Trump was quite loud, saying that American first while he was campaigning. So for the immigrants and American partners, what will be the interpretation of this?
Well, we have to approach this, what Trump is going to do, based upon what he says he's going to do, and what is he going to be able to accomplish or to do based upon the law that's on the ground. It's talking about how deporting millions of people. Will they be able to do that? Many of the immigration policies over there in the American are all legislative inclined. For him to make any changes, he has to go to congressional offices for them to pass a law to repeal what is on the ground. However, he has a mandate as a president, executive order, to implement whatever policies are on the ground in terms of enforcement. That is what he's going to rely upon. Try to gather millions of people and deport them is like a monumental, something that is going to be very difficult to do, but we don't know how he's going to do it yet. It's one of his words. He will try to do it. However, there's always pushback and interest groups in the government, people that are protecting immigrants. That's going to make it very difficult for him to do. We don't know how he's going to do it yet.
Okay, so definitely there will be pushbacks. And both of you have agreed that he's a man of his words who, when he says something, he would like to see that through. We saw that during his first term in office, and he was very categorical about the fact that America should be for Americans. But then, again, let's quickly go to some of the things he did say just yesterday, this morning, during his inaugural speech. And he did say that many orders will be signed this Monday. But then, Tunde, let's come back to you. If it's planning to sign more than 200 executive actions on Monday, is that really possible? First day at work, and then what you're trying to do is signing 200 orders. Do you see that as something that, is achievable?
Well, the powers of an American president to sign executive orders is limitless.
Okay.
So if he said he's going to sign 200 executive orders, believe that he's going to do that. Okay. I believe as at this time, his inauguration team must have put those orders in place
already. Okay.
They're just waiting for him to pronounce them once he becomes president. And aside from that, apart from that, he also plans to repeal some of the most of the executive orders that were used under the Biden administration. Yes, and executive orders. Yes, he will sign executive orders. I absolutely believe that he's going to do that.
Okay.
And yes, because I believe that the Trump presidency will be ruled mostly by executive orders, being that most of the things he wants to achieve will, like the lawyer said, will experience pushback from the legislature.
Okay.
And even among members of his own party. And he knows that going in. He knows that going in, there'll be pushback. So to get around the pushback and constitutional limits, that's why he's going to have to use executive orders.
Okay.
And I see him doing that.
You see him doing that. Do you have an addition to what he said?
Of course, executive orders is more or less like the tools of the president by which they, carry out whatever they want to do.
Okay.
It's just like me saying, I'm the president, shut the door, open the door, whatever. Yeah, it's in his purview to be able to do that. However, there's always like a pushback, like I said, from interest groups. Once you put out the executive orders, they're going to push it down to the court systems to challenge it, whether it's a violation of constitution, whether it's a violation of human rights and stuff like that. That may hold it and bog it down for quite some time before they all get into action. One thing you also need to know about executive order is that they're temporary. It's for him to do it. Whoever subsequent president can come.
They can repeal again.
And not only, it's not what they call repeal. It's just cancel them.
Like he wants to cancel.
Like he's going to, Biden, the first day, erased majority of his executive orders on his first term. He's going to do the same to Biden, and he's going to come back and say, "This is just assume executive order to be like, this is the way I want my stuff to be done. It's not something that's going to affect many people other than execution."
Oh, okay. My next question will be for the two of you, so you can take it one after the other. Like Trump or not, he's a man of history and ever controversial. Beyond the signing of these executive orders, what do you think will be his priorities now that he's back inside and outside of America? And do you expect to see a refined and better Trump this time around?
Well, if I can start, a refined and better Trump, no. Trump is Trump. Whatever we saw in the first term and whatever we saw during the campaign, that will be Trump.
Okay.
That's who Trump is going to be. Then what I see happening, if I want to go back a little bit, as on the immigration, I see, because as of right now, Trump has borders tasked with the role of deporting illegals. And from what I gathered, they are already in major cities, target cities.
Okay.
In the U.S. And the idea will be to gather undocumented immigrants. Well, there'll be pushback, there'll be protests, but you know that the way it has been there before, and the Supreme Court is majorly pro-Trump. So I'm very sure they took all of this into account. So I expect that when he gets in, the immigration will be his major thing, his major priority. That'll be the first thing he's going to do. I expect his speech at immigration today to announce how many will be deported within 100 days. Yeah, within 100 days. I expect that to happen. And I expect that to happen quickly because they already started work on that. Okay. So the idea will be to round up known areas where people who came in during the Biden administration and who are granted temporary leave, or not temporary leave, who are allowed in and are waiting either whatever proceedings, those will be the ones that be quickly rounded up and sent down to the southern border. So I expect that to happen on day one.
Okay, what about his priority outside of America?
I'm sorry, say that again?
His priority outside of America?
Yes. Look, Trump's foreign policy has always been pro-U.S. There's no two ways about it. Where it will affect a country like Nigeria will be in the area of oil production. U.S. currently produce more than Nigeria. And during the first Trump era, Nigeria lost a lot of oil sales to the U.S. So, and he has also said that from day one, because that's part of the thing he promised oil producers. From day one, there will be increase in oil production in the U.S., even though U.S. already produce more than enough. That means that international oil prices will crash. And that also means that exporting countries that depend on oil export will have to survive the brunt in a way or another.
Okay.
Then I expect Trump to also use the bully tactic in international politics. That's what he does. Bully people to fall in line. I expect that also for him to use bully tactics in the Middle East, for instance.
Russia?
Russia, Ukraine war, for instance. So I expect him to use that also. So we should expect that.
Okay. Would you have anything to add to what he said before we leave this question?
Do you expect a better Trump than his priorities inside and outside?
Well, to a certain extent, there's always a better Trump for those who are his supporters. And that will be always, Trump as Trump for those who are against his policies. So, like I said, what he's going to do within the U.S. is what he has been saying he's going to do. He's going to round up the illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, and deport them. We know that. But we don't know how he's going to do that. It costs a lot of money. It will need a lot of funding and the manpower to get it achieved. Scaling back, he's now talking about, starting from deporting the criminals, going to the prisons and stuff like that. He will have to get the states acquiescence in doing that because they still have to, work with it. We have some states presently that they call those that are protecting the illegal aliens, as we know them. So they won't give them access to their prisons or whatever to deport at will. More so, they were going to challenge it. Secondly, it's going to work on tax cut. It's a pro-corporation, anti-consumers. So its plan is to work in a way that's going to increase the freewheeling of corporations in terms of reduction of regulations and stuff like that. So that's going to affect consumers negatively. Like I said, there's always consumers advocates that's going to push back on that. What else is he going to do internationally? We're talking about he's going to end Ukraine war. Yeah, he will be willing to do that, but let me tell you, that one is anti-American interest. How he's going to achieve that, we don't know. He might pull back, but Europeans are there to continue the support for Ukraine, and I hope he continues, like Biden would want him to do, to support Ukraine, so that to stop the bullying of Israel.
Bullying? Yeah. You've also used the word bullying here.
The last one will be how is it going to affect Africans or Nigeria? It comes to Africans, we depend or rely much on the U.S. grants and subsidies. Trump doesn't want to pay anybody.
He doesn't want the aid.
So he doesn't want the aid to continue. The African government will have to find a way to live without getting more subsidies from the U.S.
government. Okay, Tunde, let me quickly come back to you. Nasir mentioned tax cuts, and I know that he's also talked about issues around tax cuts, especially for businesses and individuals to stimulate economic growth. And whether we like it or not, the American economy is not as buoyant as it used to be, or like everybody used to think that, oh, almighty America. So from your own opinion, how is it going to achieve the tax cuts?
What I expect he will do, and that is me just guessing and trying to pinch Trump's brain now. What I expect he will do as far as tax cuts is concerned is, during his first tenure, he had what was called the tax era tax cut, the Trump era tax cut for corporations and wealthy individuals. That tax cut expired under Biden. I expect him to bring that back.
Okay.
I expect him to bring that back because he believes in the trickle-down economy, which means that if the richest have more money.
Yeah.
There's benefits for
those that are
people
down there.
down below the ladder.
Okay.
So that's his policy. That's what I expect to happen under his tax policy. As far as individuals, I do not expect tax cuts for individuals. It may not increase taxes because of what implication of that, but I expect him to cut taxes and cut regulations that favor corporations and wealthy individuals.
Okay. Right.
Okay, Trump was quite passionate about boosting the growth of the American manufacturing sector during his first time, and he had a lot of issues with China. Of course, he imposed some tariff on China and goods coming from that side. Do you think his approach will be different this time around towards China?
I don't think so.
Okay.
His approach is not going to be any different. He's talking about using tariff. Even he's going to try to extend it to other countries like Canada and Mexico. He believes in using the tariffs, to cajole, to control the foreign, governments towards what they want to be done by the Americans. However, the implication of that, according to the people who are talking against tariff, is that any tariffs imposed on these imported goods is going to be transferred
to the consumers.
And it's really going to increase the consumer prices. We have to go back to how he did it the first time. Before I continue with the tax cut, he did that in his first term, and it's set to be expired next year. He's trying to make it permanent. That is what he's trying to do now. However, he still has to go to the legislative body for them to do that. Will they be able to achieve that? We don't know. Although the Republicans that is running under now controls the three arms of the government, but we still have the majority in the congressional house is very small, and then they will need the support of the Democrats to be able to
scale through.
To scale through.
Okay, Tunde, you were going to add something just before he picked up?
Yeah, I was going to say that on tariff, well, one thing everyone should understand about when U.S. president or any U.S. president, apart from Trump, talks about China, there's an undefined security battle between U.S. and China.
Right.
So, and that has always been from time immemorial. So the idea of tariff on foreign goods was a quote to kind of limit growth in China. It has nothing to do with American economy. And bear in mind that China's influence across the world has continued to increase in the past few years, to the point that in the southern U.S. border, China has factories for goods that are being exported into the U.S. So the idea of Trump saying it would tariff more and increase tariff is to slow this kind of thing. Yes, I really don't see other ways he can do it if he wants to compete with China. That's the sad part of it is that the other guest just said. Yes, the consumers will pay. This is tax on consumers, right? Because when you bring goods across the border from Mexico into the U.S., that's ordinarily supposed to be $100, and there's a $200 tax on it. Definitely, there's somebody's paying for it, and it's not the company that is paying for it. So I expect a lot of tariff, especially targeted indirectly at China. It might be broad, but the idea is to slow down China.
Okay. All right, let's quickly look at education. What do you see here with the administration of Trump or administrations before now? What's obtainable at the moment when it comes to education policies now that Biden is about leaving? And what are some of the things, either pro or addition, that Trump may be bringing to the education sector? Let's start with you.
Yeah, education is basically being controlled by the states, so it has nothing much to do with the federal government. These are part of utterances they make, just to scare people. There's always cultural war in terms of LGBTQ and
abortion,
war, the abortion and educational system. What they are trying to do is to rewrite history, the way the education is being run, to protect, to cater to the conservative ideas. So instead of liberal. Apart from that, they try to work against the transgender program in wherever it might be, as it affects the school system too, whereby the bathroom issues, where like a man calling himself a woman can always go into any bathroom. So all those are the things that they're going to do in terms of education. We're talking about the second part of it would be like the student grant loans or whatever, we call it grants and instead of loans, that the Biden administration has been trying to forgive those people that have had the loans.
They have not paid
and
back.
then, yeah, Trump is not about giving anybody any money except for himself. So those are the things they're going to do in terms of education.
Right.
Okay. During his first term as well, it was quite controversial going through the document that I have here. Of course, he withdrew from some international agreements like the Paris Climate Change Accord, the Iran Nuclear Accord, and he also criticized the North Atlantic Treaty members for not funding defense. This time around, in what direction do you think is going to go towards some of these agreements that America signed under Biden?
Well, I expect him to broaden that. Like as I said, like everybody knows, Trump's agenda will be America first. And that means that he wants to please his voters. For instance, because most Americans believe that the U.S. are historically taking too much as far as showing other people's problems. So I expect him to withdraw or try to limit U.S. involvement in the climate agenda. I also expect him to put pressure on NATO or reduce U.S. funding of NATO. I also expect him to reduce foreign aid to other countries. So all of these are expected under the Trump, because if he's going to do his America First agenda and he has a very vocal home base to please, he will have to go in that direction.
Okay. All right. And before we come back to Nasser here, let me quickly stay with you, Tunde, because you are in communication. During the first term of Donald Trump, we knew how vocal he was with the media. And everybody was a liar. Every press was a liar, before Donald J. Trump. What do you see? Do you expect a more civilized Donald Trump during his second term here? Or do you see him continuing in that era where if he doesn't believe in you, you're not saying the truth?
Well, one thing Trump did great in is to paint an image the way he wants everybody to see it. If you're holding a white handkerchief in your hand and Trump wants you to see it as black, he is a master in making you see it as black. And that is part of who he is, especially from going back to his business days. So you should expect Trump to push his own stories, push his own narrative. And don't forget that he has an ally in Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, right.
Elon Musk now. So don't forget. So yes, he loves to push his own narrative. He will push his own narrative more. He will do his own press conference. He will attack any news that is against his interest or that is against that he considers as. Yes, so you expect that. That will in the first term. He had a lot of professionals, professional journalists,
who were on his team,
business areas on the team. Right. But this time around, he's coming in with loyalists. Okay. Which means say what I want you to say or you're out of here. Or what I want you to do or you're out of here. So we should expect that.
Okay. There was a statement credited to Trump just yesterday where he said that America declined in 4 years under Biden. Do you agree with that statement, Andy?
No. The economy is very great, more than Trump administration. The economy is doing very fine. However, people are not feeling the impact based upon the inflation. We have to, go back to how the inflation started from the time of COVID-19 that affected China, that happens to be the manufacturer country for the world, including the U.S., and that affected the supply side of production inputs. So that put pressure on prices and increasing. Then Russia and Ukraine war came over and affected commodities prices and stuff like that too. the OPEC and Russia too connive to keep the oil prices high.
Higher.
All those led to like high increase in prices of consumer goods. And the people that voted for Trump at this time around, it's not that they're giving him mandate. He has the followers, the conservatives that voted for him. However, some people do vote for him based upon the pressure on the pockets due to the inflation.
Did you vote for
That's
Trump?
what it is. You can tell from the
Okay, I was just going to put you on the spot for that, whether or not you voted for Trump. Okay, we will try as much as possible to, finish up this conversation. I was going to ask Tunde a final question here before, asking him to go. But I'm sure that we can still hear his voice. And so, Tunde, I'm going to ask you this question, and then we can wrap up on that. So, the final question from you is, do you expect a better America in the next 4 years with Donald Trump? Keep speaking, and we will get your picture online in a bit.
Yeah, actually, I expect America to continue to be to succeed, business-wise and economy-wise. The economy is great now under Biden. I expect Trump to build on it. What will happen? What will determine where America goes is the first year of Trump's administration.
Okay.
There are a lot of things on ground now that will make America continue to improve, especially infrastructure. Biden's government invested in infrastructure than any other president in history. You go to any streets in America, there are roads being constructed. There are broadband internet being deployed. So all of those will continue. So I expect the economy to continue to do well. But now, 1 year down the road, it now depends on how Trump handles it. Does he build on that? Does he try to compete and try to create his own agenda and try to sort things? That will determine what's going to happen at the end of the day.
Okay, all right. Same question to you, Mayinde, before we wrap up this morning.
Of course, the U.S. economy will always continue to be great. They don't stop. We hear the presidents, the Congress, those are not the people that are doing the jobs in the U.S. We have people that are really doing the work and then to continue to be grown. They don't stop on innovation. That's one thing about America.
Right.
All over the world, they always think they can compete with the U.S., but U.S. spend a lot of money on research and development. The innovation doesn't stop. As it is now, Russia believes is equal to the U.S. However, they depend on much of the Western technologies, which they have been restricted from doing now. In another few years, all they have will be obsolete. The America will continue to grow. There's no decline in that.
Okay, you both are thinking like Americans.
A very quick one. A very quick one before we let you go this morning. What do you think will be the perception of the world for this second coming of Trump? And does he look like somebody who will care about your perception of him?
Trump doesn't care about the perception of whatever you have of him. He doesn't care. However, you just have to understand where Trump is coming from. Just like every other American president, it's always American interest first, regardless of who is in there. Trump might be, going into diatribes or whatever. The difference between Trump and Biden is that the Biden administration happened to be passionate, and then they try to bring all the world along with them to fund whatever is necessary in terms of being the world police and stuff like that. Trump doesn't want to do that. He wants everybody to pay his way, towards whatever. That's what he's trying to tell the European Union. That's what he's telling the people in NATO. You have to increase your, spending, otherwise we will withdraw. It's rhetoric. American interest first. You might be saying it, but you can't do much of it.
Okay.
Today, you want to say something to that?
Oh no, I just agree with that. Every American president takes America first. Okay. So, and I expect, the idea that the fact that he is the second time coming, that has kind of given other countries what to expect, idea of what to expect under a Trump administration. Okay. And I'm sure the Europeans and other countries that depend on America are adjusting their own foreign policies now to accommodate what Trump will do.
Okay.
It's not a surprise. The first time was a surprise for everybody.
Right.
So it's not going to be a surprise to anybody. So everybody will adjust and get along.
Okay. All right, we'll have to leave this conversation here. Thank you so much, Sunday Akinloye, for finding time to join us on the program today. We hope that you can still go back to sleep. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, and thank you so much, Ayinde Nasir Lawal, practicing U.S. attorney. Thank you for finding time to also be here with us on the program.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Right. Of course, in a matter of hours, Donald Trump, of course, will take the podium again and be sworn in as American president for the second time. So let's get in for the drama for another 4 years. Thank you for watching this side of the table. We'll take a quick break. We'll return. Bukola and Joy will take you through their conversation.